But like, with relationships, you learn the good stuff, the important stuff, how to take care of your skin. I never knew this. Women before they go to bed, there's a whole procedure. There's serums, there's creams, there's eye ointments, there's Enya. I didn't even know this happened. 30 minutes in the bathroom, knocking on, like, hey, is everything all right? She was like, yeah, I'm just putting on my serum. Ooh, yes, you do this every night? Like, yeah, what do you do before bed? I was like, I just wash my face with soap. It's the worst thing you could do.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the ReUp. My name is Jason Delgado. Thank you so much for joining me. For those who don't know, each week I kind of break down what's been going on with me, the world, my assessments, a little positive energy out there in the ether. Just see what's good. But anyway, welcome. This week has just been getting back into gear. Comedy's back, you guys, a little bit. People have been going out to Austin and Florida and doing all these sort of shows, the comedians I know. But, in California, it's been, roofs and parks and Zoom meetings, and it's been sparse. But things are coming back, good outdoor shows, good tented shows are coming back. Places are sort of starting to arrange themselves for sort of the new era of what it's going to be like. But, I think it's good to see, places popping off, doing things. I tried out some new bits, writing new material, coming up with my sort of new post-pandemic bits. Public restrooms, no one cares. Who uses those? But yeah, I'm trying to kind of come up with like the new material and stuff like that. And, it's been fun to kind of get the opportunity to go out, do a performance, or two, and kind of, get sort of people's reactions to it. Just see, what people are laughing at, what people are sort of thinking about or whatever, my perspective, if it works or not. One of the things I did this week was, just do a lot of cooking, to be honest with you. We got a new stove in the apartment. The old stove wasn't working. It would get past like to 380. As soon as it was like 385, boom, the whole thing would shut off. So food was taking hours to cook, if at ever. And then one time the burner didn't work, and it was just kind of a hassle. But now we got a brand new stove at the house with like a nice flat, sort of even top, so you can put giant pots on it. It goes to like 500 degrees. It's got a broiler. It's amazing. And I guess it's a stove that works. So in that sense, it's amazing. But we haven't, I guess, had a stove that worked for so long that we maybe forgot about it. But now we got one, and it's nice, and I've been, kind of using it to cook more and kind of get my mise en scène on, and one of the things I was doing was I was watching this chef show. There's a chef show on Netflix with Jon Favreau and Chef Roy Choi. Excellent stuff. Just the way they put it together, how they produce it. I just love how they're sort of banter, and then they have somebody come on and kind of help them with something. They cook meals from the movie Chef, which if you have not seen is terrific. Please, highly recommend it. Brr, as I mess up the mic. But yeah, great stuff. So I was essentially just watching, the chef show a lot and kind of just, getting my, chef show feel on. And then, I would go and I'd cook a meal. I'd try to little something new or maybe a new technique or kind of how they do it. For example, this week I learned how to confit garlic. I didn't know what that means, but it feels so fancy and French that I had to definitely look into it. And essentially just taking garlic, putting it in oil, and just leaving it there for a while. Just to kind of slowly melt into this sort of crispy, almost buttery texture. And then as it browns very slowly and very low heat, you take it out of the oil and just put it on maybe toast with butter to make a little kind of like buttered garlic confit treat. It's phenomenal. But it sounds really fancy for just garlic bulbs and oil. But I've been doing that and doing little things, but I noticed as I cooked that the cooking was better. I was cooking better after having watched the chef show, or if the chef show was on in the background. Even if they were doing salmon bananas and I was just doing, bacon and eggs. Something about the watching them care for food and put the food together just kind of rubbed off on me. Just something about the sort of the static energy or whatever that is, or maybe my brain kind of looking at excellence and sort of having it around me. And I don't know, there was just something about it where I found myself cooking better having watched the chef show. And just having it on in the background just made the cooking better. I don't know, gave more of a shit or whatever it was. But I just cared for the food better and kind of, just had a better time with the cooking process having watched or having the chef show on. And having done that, I kind of was like, I wonder if that's, maybe a thing where, so, you watch Rocky before you work out and the workout is stronger because you watch Rocky lift those bricks. Hearts on fire. And you're just like, oh, now I'm Rocky, right? And so I feel like maybe there's something to that in everything, for whatever. I watch surgery, then I do surgery. No, but like, I feel like with comedy, maybe there is something to having, watching a comedian that you like do something great. Not to necessarily even copy their style or any elements of it, but just to see excellence being performed before you go perform. And I don't know if that's a variable there, but that's what I did before these performances. I watched some stand-up this weekend that I haven't watched in a while, people that I like. And just kind of getting just to see how calm and cool they are and the sort of the way they do it, or sort of how crazy and wild and in your face they are, and just how they control that. And just watching comedians and their excellence. And it definitely helped. Like, it rubbed off on the shows. It allowed me, I was still kind of trying new stuff, so there was those little bibbity-bibbities, the nervity-burbities. But I do feel like I was able to sort of, calm myself and be in a position where I was like, I know where the joke, I feel like I'm brave enough to tell the joke, or whatever that is, right? And I think that there is something to that, to watching excellence, seeing excellence around you before going to do that excellence thing, just to have it on you, just to have the stink on you of somebody having done it well, and that was the last thing your brain saw, and now you're going out. I don't know. I feel like there is something to that for sure, for both cooking and comedy. So I like that, that there's it's preparation. It's very similar in odd ways, right? But I would watch that and go out and perform, and it helped. I mean, performance this weekend went really, really, it was really, really fun. I wish it would have gone way, way better, but I always wish it would have gone way, way better. People laughed, the jokes worked. But like the set started with like the phone going off. And I was just like, tell him I'll call him back. And I mean, I stayed in the pocket. I really was fine with it, but it was just one of those like, hey, comedy's back, boobity boo. It's like I want to make sure that I can still say loose about it and not feel like, oh my God, what was I going to say? Oh, the phone rang, it's over. It's important to kind of stay in the pocket and be a little bit aware of that could happen. And so I thought it was nice to be, in a position where something happened right off the bat and I was able to kind of bring it back and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people showed up. It was a lot of fun. People wore masks and it was nice and it was safe and it was fun and I had a great time. And most of the jokes worked. and yeah, we got some good footage for people. It was one of the things. It's like, it's so tough to get good footage. And so, I was able to use the camera, and I had another like still camera, and I used my iPhone, and I was able to get some nice angles and some nice things about what the show was about. And one of the things that was nice was I was able to, and one of the angles I kind of had on sort of behind, but you could see the faces of the audience. And one of the things that it's odd because like most of the time when I get footage of myself or of a show or of a gig, it's like you see the tops of the heads of people, but it's really just you, obviously, just because you want, you want to be able to show that off the most you. But for a comedian, for myself looking at it, having a camera sort of tucked in the audience was really nice because it really added this perspective I hadn't seen before, where you're like, I'm seeing what they're laughing at, what they're looking down at their phones at what point in the joke they tune out, at what point of the joke they pop back. And it was a perspective I had never seen because I'm always used to like watching myself and then going, oh, okay, they laughed there, like, they didn't laugh there. But to see like where they built up, where they looked up, like they might not have laughed at that point, but they looked up, or the point where you thought they were going to laugh, they go, no, I'm out of this. And I really enjoyed that perspective because it gave me a new light on what I thought was funny. Like, trying out a joke where you're sort of performing a little bit. There's this idea like, I'm going to just shoot this for the moon and just see what happens. But to see like they tuned out at that point or they engaged at that point, that's really helpful because a laugh some people just don't laugh. Some people like to just watch and smile. But just to see where they went from like, I don't care, to, oh, this is great. Like, or whatever, that is a huge deal, because it means that people who do laugh, or that element of where that laugh is going to go, you can gauge it better. You could see, like, I could see, like, oh man, I could squeeze these because, you know, the person looked up here, but then I was like, and then the other, then they were like, no, I'm out of this. And then I went, burp, 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 and they went, oh, okay, I'm back. And then I was like, words, and they tuned out. And so, like, I'm like, oh, cool. If I could make more sound effects in the middle and then pop it out at the end, I would maybe keep their head up more. You know what I mean? And have a better shot at a laugh. And I thought that that was priceless information. It really, really was. It was great to have that sort of angle and sort of tucked away, just to see, like, here's where people looked at each other. Here's where people went, oh man, that was funny. And here's when people were like, and so that, it was a great learning experience to have that. And because you're trying new stuff, you know, it's tough to test stuff. You know what I mean? You can't really test it. You try it with your friends, and then you gotta, you know, if you're lucky enough to get to, there's some open mics and stuff, but still, it's like, you know, so as audience and shows are really tough to come by. So it's like, I'm very grateful for it, but at the same time, you know, it's tough to try new stuff, because you're like, you're the first time you're going to hear anybody who's going to hear this. And so I feel kind of like, I want to give people a show. I don't want to, you know, just try my baked goods on an audience. I'd like to have these tried and true baked goods for the audience, so they feel like they had a good time. But I performed this one set before at an open mic, flashback open mic on Melrose. So I felt like some of the jokes were a bit tested, but it was nice. And it was good to see that everybody had a good time. And I opened, which I thought was nice to kind of break it, because, you know, I have kind of silly big comedy, and I think sometimes when it's a big silly guy goes up, or girl, or just a big boisterous comedian goes up first, there's this, I could look like an idiot, but I won't look as bad as that guy. You know what I mean? Like, that comic went crazy. Like, you know, there's this one female comic that she just blows it up. And it's like, if she goes, you know, you got to match her energy, or at least keep that vibe going, that high energy vibe going. You know, that kind of feeling is good, because, you know, it keeps the show light. It keeps the show with energy. Where if the first girl goes up like this, everybody, then the next person feels like maybe they have to pick it up. You know, where sometimes it's nice to have that person like third or fourth to kind of balance out so much high energy, and then we bring it back. You know, it's a balance putting together a show, and I give a lot of credit to the people who do it. Rachel Sterling, in this case, putting together these shows. But yeah, it's just really nice to see those, you know, like to go out there, be a big silly person, then everybody else feels like, oh, I could be a big silly person too, and they don't, you know, it's like they could try their stuff that's out there because the first person was way out there. And so in that sense, it was nice to open, and it felt good to sort of go through that, and you know, I don't know, like, just feel like you set the tone essentially for what's going to happen in a way. And it was great. Everybody loved it. Everybody did really, really well. I mean, footage for the most part came out great. I had to move the camera a little bit in the middle, but, you know, the kinks are getting worked out. But yeah, it was really, really fun. And I had a great time doing it, and I hope to do it again more and more and more. And it's great to see that, you know, comedy coming back, and people kind of getting out there, and the vaccines are getting out there, so there's more of a impetus for the world to sort of reopen, and so I'm excited. So it's good to know. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. Hopefully there'll be some more comedy stories for next week, some more interesting stuff. We're still going out there doing auditions, trying to be an actor, trying to be the new face of everything fun. We'll see. But in any case, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Jason Delgado. If you have Instagram or the socials, please follow me at Jason Delgado Comedy. Always fun posts, always little rants, memes, good stuff, positive energy, always. So please join, follow me, like, subscribe this video. Thank you so much. This has been the ReUp, and we will see you on the next one.